today, I couldn't be more excited to be talking about the newest game that's absolutely hooked me, and it's called No matter how badly I want to nerd out about the background of this game, I won't, because I promise this is going to be a tutorial and not a review. All you need to know is that this game is an absolute passion project, made by fans for fans, and the small team behind it is giving us this amazing RTS experience for free as of September 2025. That's right, in the age of battle passes, microtransaction hell, AAA game releases with 50 gigabyte day one patches, we get this incredible game with the sole requirement of owning a basic PC. No ads, no hidden costs, no bullshit. And let me just say, this game is technically still an alpha, but it's already more polished than half the AAA game releases I've played in the last 5 years at launch. So if you've been thinking about getting into RTS games for a while, then you've come to the right place, because the barrier to entry could not be any lower. So I just added this game to my rotation a few months ago, and I've already convinced several of my friends to get into it with me. I'm sick of reteaching each of them individually how to play it, so I just decided to make this video instead. And hopefully this video makes it outside my group of 4 drunk friends, and someone else out there finds it useful as well. So without further ado, let's get you playing Bar. Gameplay in Bar is all about massive scale, all-out warfare. The objective is simple: wipe out the enemy. The typical way you do this is by building the largest army as quickly and efficiently as possible and wielding that army effectively. There are 2 complete factions available so far, with a third on the way. Although their unit composition and basic tactics vary, their base mechanics are similar. Where they will vary is in their strategy. Cortex, or Core, tends to favor brute force and a straightforward steamroller approach. ARM favors a more mobile, adaptable playstyle. Every game begins with each player having a single unit, the Commander. The Commander is your most important unit, and losing it can mean losing the game. It can defend itself decently against early game attacks, and can construct basic buildings, but is ultimately just the seed for what will become a massive army. In team play games, victory is usually achieved by wiping out all the enemy team commanders, so tactics will vary quite a bit between 1v1, team versus team, or free-for-all games. Your commander, like all construction units in the game, have 4 categories of buildings they can construct. Economy buildings center around the generation and storage of metal and energy, your 2 main resources. Combat buildings consist mainly of static defenses. Utility buildings provide a variety of helpful functions, with the most important being radar, sonar, and radar jamming. The Build tab will contain all your factories, which you'll use to build your armies. There are hundreds of different combat units, but they can be divided into 5 basic groups, each with their own strengths and weaknesses: bots, tanks, aircraft, naval, and hovercraft. Each unit has particular scenarios they excel or struggle in, so getting to know which are the right units to use and when is crucial. Constructing units and buildings all consume resources, so mastering Bar's economy will be the most important thing to dig into when getting started. In Bar, you'll need to balance 3 resources. I've already mentioned 2, energy and metal, and these are more straightforward, the less obvious being build power. Learning to manage this delicate balance act will be your key to success. Bar uses what's called a streaming economy, meaning resources are generated and consumed at a varying rate per second. Your metal and energy are displayed clearly at the top of your screen. The number on the right notes how much of each you can store in total, and the number in the middle displays how much you currently have. The moving bar is a visual representation. The green and red numbers on each of these display how much of those resources you are generating and consuming per second. And spending more of any resource per second will start to drain your reserves. When your storage or reserves are empty, your economy will become stalled. Build times will be significantly delayed since your construction units will be throttled back depending on how great your deficit is of income to usage. You never want to run fully out of energy, since there are tons of additional functions that depend on it, including many defensive towers and certain units' attacks. Running out of energy at the wrong time can be catastrophic and cripple your offensive and defensive capability. Various structures like wind turbines and solar collectors simply produce a certain amount of energy anywhere you place them. Wind and tidal sources are map dependent and can even vary over the course of the match, whereas solar, geothermal, and fusion power are constant. Constructing extra energy storages is particularly useful if you have a wind-dependent economy. Metal is a little more difficult and can only be mined with extractors at metal deposits scattered throughout the map. The quantity and quality of metal deposits will vary per map. The number displayed above a deposit shows how much metal per second they'll generate with a basic extractor. You can generate your own metal with energy converters, but this is an expensive investment and requires a ton of energy for a modest amount of metal. Still, metal conversion is a viable strategy, and you'll find yourself having at least some metal conversion in every game. If metal on a map is sparse, your enemy has control over most of the deposits, or you're playing a team game and are very space limited, building a huge excess of energy generators and energy converters will likely be required. However, claiming metal deposits for direct mining should always be a priority. Metal can also be reclaimed from wrecks for about 60% of the unit or building's original cost, so keeping some construction units on patrol to reap the rewards of a large battle or destroyed base is a great way for some cheap metal infusion. Metal streams at a much lower rate than energy, so recovering from a metal stall is much more difficult. Players are encouraged to aggressively expand and grab as much land as possible in order to secure the most metal deposits for their team, or to at least deny them from your opponent. The third and more hidden resource you need to understand is build power, most easily described as your ability to quickly spend your resources and turn them into units and buildings. Simply put, the more construction bots and factories you have, the faster you can churn out troops or construct buildings, given you have the metal and energy to sustain it. When selecting any construction unit, you can see that unit's build power stat displayed. The higher the number, the faster that unit can perform tasks like building, repairing, and reclaiming. Higher build power units will consume resources at a much faster rate. Take the commander, a high build power unit, versus a basic construction bot. They can both be tasked to construct the same building, and they'll consume the same resources for the job. However, because the commander's build power is much higher, that job will get done in a much shorter amount of time, but will consume those resources at a faster rate. On a larger scale, having an abundance of build power without the resource income to support it is what causes a stalled economy. It doesn't matter how many construction units you have, if you don't have the resources, they'll always be limited to how fast they can build. If you consistently see your resources overflowing, that means you have a lack of build power. Excess resources that start to overflow your storage capacity are wasted, so you should always avoid hitting an overflow state. You can build more constructors to spend your resources faster, or you can construct metal and energy storages to raise your capacity. Understanding how to balance your metal, your energy, and your build power and scale them all up at relatively the same rate and do so faster than your opponent is the invisible dance you'll need to master to win games. Both of the main complete factions, ARM and Core, have similar tech trees and lots of equivalent units. Each unit type has a dedicated factory, so choosing the right unit type for the job can make or break your early game. Transitioning to a Tier 2 tech level should be your priority. After you get your first construction bot built from a factory, that unit can then build an advanced or Tier 2 factory, and that gives you access to Tier 2 units, which have far greater magnitudes of variety, firepower, resource generation, and cost. Your economy scales exponentially as you advance from Tier 1 to Tier 2, as you start to unlock fusion reactors, advanced geothermal plants, advanced metal extractors, and advanced energy converters. You'll also want to scale your production up with your economy as quickly as possible to outbuild your opponents. On most maps, your main force will usually be composed of ground units, tanks, and bots. But again, this will vary on the terrain. Bots are the easiest to field by far. They're relatively cheap, fast, offer a good variety of functions, and are also great at traversing steep terrain. Tanks are generally slower and less maneuverable, more expensive, and not as good on steep terrain, but have superior armor and firepower. On average, tanks are preferred for sustained frontline combat or wide open battlefields. Both tanks and bots offer a decent variety of mainline units, flankers, artillery, anti-air, and various utility units. Aircraft are slow to build, fragile, and have a high energy requirement, but can absolutely turn the tide of a battle if used correctly. They are by far the most mobile, so they excel at scouting, quickly responding to threats, or carrying out lightning-fast strikes on key enemy targets. Fighters can be used to patrol your territory, gunships can harass ground units, and provide some good mobile firepower, while bombers can devastate high-value targets. Learning when and where to send your air units will be key, since blindly sending them to their death is a really costly mistake. Aircraft typically work best when coordinated with other types of units. Naval units are the opposite of aircraft. Heavy, slow, metal expensive, and their movement is obviously limited to bodies of water. However, they have an abundance of armor, and their weapons can outrange and outclass most ground units. Destroyers are a great bread and butter. Battleships and missile cruisers can decimate entire armies and bases from long range, and submarines can stealthily dismantle enemy outposts or small fleets. Finally, hovercraft are the most versatile units in the game, offering a wide variety of units with a blend of firepower, mobility, and the ability to traverse both land and water. They can flank enemies very well, but they're quite expensive to build en masse, making them less suited for prolonged frontline combat. In the course of a single game, you'll most likely never be building every single type of unit, so what mix you end up building is entirely map and strategy dependent. On average, you might start to favor one unit type over the other, but learning the strengths and weaknesses of each one and when to use them will make sure that you're well equipped to handle whatever your enemy throws at you. Since both factions are fairly similar in their tech tree, progressing through them typically looks something like this. The commander is your sole starting unit and has the most basic build options. For water starts, you'll also have naval equivalents to all of these, since your commander itself is amphibious and can build on both land and water. You have everything you need to defend against early game small rush attacks or scouts, but you'll want to get a factory and additional construction units out as soon as possible. Your Tier 1 construction units have more build options than your commander, so once you have a couple out, you'll usually just want to leverage your commander's build power in assisting those constructors to build faster. In your economy tab, you now have access to advanced solar collectors and geothermal plants, which are key in ramping up your economy to transition to Tier 2. Geothermal plants can only be built on geothermal vents and should be prioritized in early game as much as possible. They offer fantastic energy output for a relatively low resource investment, so they are incredibly efficient. In your combat tab, you'll see you have access to more defensive options as well. More advanced laser towers are leagues above the starting light laser towers, and improved air defenses can fend off more significant air attacks over large areas. Plasma artillery are expensive emplacements, but offer incredible firepower that can stave off major attacks and should be placed with care. Keep in mind that while static defenses have superior firepower, overcommitting on static defenses can really hurt you. They should really be used sparingly and only at critical choke points or near important buildings. In your utility tab, you'll get access to radar jammers, which can be used to hide important areas of your base from enemy radar. In your build tab, Tier 2 factories of that construction unit's type, and construction turrets, also known as nanos. Nanos are extremely useful static towers, which will assist with construction, repairing, and reclaiming tasks in a large radius around them. They have the best build power of any unit in the game, and for how much they cost, you'll find yourself littering your base with more and more of them as your economy scales up to allow it. One or two in the early game are the norm to speed up production, but having dozens of these near your factories later in the game are the best way to pump out massive armies very quickly. Just make sure you don't overcommit on the construction towers unless you have the economy to sustain the higher build power. Tier 2 constructors can be built at Tier 2 factories and give you access to an entirely new roster of buildings. In your economy tab, you'll see you now have advanced metal extractors, which should be prioritized as soon as possible. You can upgrade your existing metal extractors just by clicking on them when your Tier 2 constructor is selected. Advanced geothermal plants can be built over your Tier 1 plants in the same way and are incredibly efficient sources of energy, but these come with a caveat. Tier 2 geos will turn into mini nukes when they're destroyed and will vaporize anything you build near them. Don't put anything near them that you can't afford to lose. Making the jump to a fusion economy is the most significant leap, and your resource output will really take off after you get 1 or 2 of these up and running. You'll typically just want to use basic fusion plants as stepping stones to get to your advanced fusion reactors, or APHISes. Advanced energy converters will help turn all that extra energy into heaps of metal. Under the Combat tab, the anti-nuke is particularly important, as more adept opponents will try to start dropping nukes on you very early. Your own nuke silo will also be available, but these are expensive and slow to build and operate. Long-range plasma cannons will generally be your go-to option, as these are the best artillery units in the game, launching huge shots of plasma over massive distances. These should be well defended, as they're very expensive and are useless as soon as enemies get too close or against targets that can move any faster than a 90s Honda Civic. Under build options, you'll finally gain access to the experimental gantry, which can create the most powerful and costly game-ending units. There's a good variety of experimental units currently available, but I'll leave those for you to discover on your own. I obviously don't have the time to dive into every single unit in depth within the scope of this video, but this should at least get you on your feet and have a general understanding of how to progress through the fairly simple tech tree. Of the many RTS games I've played, Bar is probably one of the best at giving you the controls you need. Although it's intuitive and fluid and offers a lot of customization, with so many options and controls, it can easily be overwhelming for new players. So we'll just cover the most common and useful ones here. Selecting units is easily done by clicking or dragging a box to select groups of units, or you can double click on any unit and you'll select all of that unit types on screen. The most important key I use in the game is Shift. Shift lets you queue up anything. Sequences of commands, buildings, or select several units or buildings together. This is one of the most powerful tools in the game, as it lets you give your units enough work to keep them busy, while you can then move on to do something else while they work through their tasks. Holding space when issuing a command will reprioritize your selected unit to do that task immediately, but it will keep your chain of commands intact. So if you issue a long string of commands using Shift, you can interrupt it temporarily at any time by holding space and telling that unit to do something else. And as soon as it's done, it'll then continue its queued up commands. If you have a factory selected, holding Alt will add units to its build queue, but it will keep them outside of its repeat queue. This is super helpful when you have a factory that's just churning out combat units, but you need to sneak in a construction bot or two without messing up your whole build order. Units can also be assigned to control groups. This is done by simply holding Control and pressing any number on your keyboard. To automatically assign any particular unit or units to a control group in the future, just hold Alt and then press that number to assign all those units to that group. What I like to do with control groups is assign unit types to each category. I like to keep my frontline units on 1, flankers on 2, artillery on 3, fighters on 5, gunships on 6, bombers on 7, and nukes on 0. Since different unit types are best when micromanaged different ways, as opposed to just dragging a box over a blob of units and telling them to all do the same thing. The Fight command is extremely useful. This tells your combat unit to move to the designated point, but they'll stop to engage whatever enemy they come across along its path. This is great for artillery and long-range units so that they stop moving and keep their distance when they find a target. For construction units, they'll move to the designated point, but they'll stop to assist with construction tasks along their route. Patrol tells your units to continuously move between their current position and the patrol point or points. They'll engage any enemies they encounter along their way, and it's a good command to use when you're trying to keep an eye over and control large areas of the map. If patrol is assigned to a construction unit, they'll automatically reclaim resources and repair friendly units along their path. So setting construction units on patrol routes in friendly territory is a good way to make sure your base stays repaired after enemy attacks. With either case, you can hold shift to queue up several points and create more complex patrol routes. Guard tells your unit to escort the selected friendly target. They'll travel with it, and combat units will automatically engage any enemies in range. Construction units told to guard other construction units will assist in whatever tasks they need to carry out. Reclaim, I like to remember the hotkey for this one as E for eat, tells your construction unit to absorb any useful energy or metal from the selected target. This can be something in the environment like a tree or a rock, or it can be a friendly or enemy unit. By clicking and dragging, you can create a circular area for your unit to automatically reclaim everything it can within that radius. Plundering graveyards of dead units from large battles can provide you with all the metal you need to keep your army well reinforced. Repair is also pretty self-explanatory. Your unit will repair the selected target and is important for keeping your defenses and army in fighting condition. This costs no resources, so it's infinitely more efficient to repair combat units between battles than it is to replace dead ones. And same thing here, click and drag to select an area, and that unit will repair anything that can within it. Resurrect is unique to the resurrection bot or combat engineer units of each faction. This allows these units to resurrect units or buildings from either friendly or enemy wrecks, transferring any resurrected units directly to your command. This is a great way of capturing enemy tech and adding it to your own build capability. More advanced and heavily armored enemies will take much longer to resurrect, but multiple res bots can be assigned to the same target. And again, you can also click and drag an area and your units will do a mass res of wrecks in that area. Resurrecting units does cost energy and is slower than reclaiming, but you'll get a functional unit just by investing some energy. Whereas reclaiming a wreck will just refund 60% of that unit's metal. So there are pros and cons to reclaiming versus resurrecting, so it'll be up to you to decide if you need the units or the raw materials more at any given moment. So within the scope of this tutorial, which is mainly geared towards beginners, we're not going to jump into the complexities of large PvP team battles just yet. So starting with some simple 1v1s, we'll be better at teaching you how to simultaneously do all the roles of offense, defense, and economy management. The most important thing when you're gaming is to be comfortable. As you can see, I've gone for the triple XL gaming chair here. I got my best buddy, very sleepy. I'm just going to do a quick 1v1 here versus a barbarian AI. But as we're going, I'm going to do my best to kind of narrate my thoughts out loud and how I'm making decisions in real time. So anyways, we're just going to jump right into it. Alright, so first very important decision of the game is picking your starting location. So we're going to pick a starting spot in this green rectangle somewhere here over here. When you pick a spot here, you can kind of see this little green circle around your starting location, and that's your commander's build radius. So what you want to do is pick a spot where you can start building and your commander will move as little as possible to really just maximize how quickly you can start building. So my recommendation is just to go for one of the spots with 3 metal. I'm going to pick this one here because we got some choke points that are easy to defend. We got a geothermal vent over here. And then the other thing you want to do is kind of look at what natural resources there are on the map that you can start reclaiming early in the game. So like this map has a couple little rocks scattered here and there, so I can send out a scout to start reclaiming those as quick as possible. Let's go with this spot right here. We're just going to start with some metal extractors and some wind turbines. And then we're going to go into a bot lab right away. Get a nice sip of my hot toddy in while I'm waiting. All right, in our opening, let's get one of these res bots out so we can start reclaiming first thing. And then we'll get a handful of scouts out. What do you want, buddy? I'm busy. So we can find the enemy's starting position as quick as possible. And if we can do some damage with the scouts, all the better. So as soon as this guy comes out, I'm going to have him start reclaiming this area for extra metal. And then we're going to go, uh-oh, I forgot to unboost my commander, so we're going to get some power here ASAP. Big stall right there, that was really bad. Very sloppy. It's going to be harder to talk through this than I thought while I'm going. Then we're going to transition into some construction bots, maybe another res bot, and then we'll just build a handful of infantry units after that. Now that we have our scouts, we're going to send them all the way across the back of the map. And they're just going to pan out across this entire area and kind of show us where the enemy's starting. Now with our commander, let's get our other metal extractor up. And we're going to run out of energy again real quick, so let's get another solar up. This guy can start putting up some light laser towers around the metal we're going to take back here. Commander's going to put up another light laser tower up front with a nice little radar. Also, notice how the radar is affected by the terrain here. Alright, second construction bot is out. We'll start him on some metal extractors back here. Really important to get those going. Oh, and I stalled on energy again. That's not good. Let's get that going here. Alright, and this last construction bot, I'm going to have him put out a nano right here by my factory to start boosting it. Commander, on the other hand, also what I really want to do, now that we have some light laser towers up, is really quickly get an air defense up as well, just in the case the enemy picks up some early game air units. This bar down here, you can see your idle guys, so make sure that you're always utilizing your builders and you're trying to minimize the downtime they have. The enemy's really good at kind of finding these off flanks to hit you from when you least expect it, so I find it's good to protect all your expansions at least with just a couple light laser turrets. But when I'm out of metal again, oh, doing terrible on metal and energy. Alright, we need to start reclaiming fast. I'm gonna have my commander move up, since early game commander has, oh, and we found the enemy. See, I'm all over the place. Alright, we can snipe some of these things without them even retaliating. So we'll see if we can take out this metal extractor here before the commander comes back. We can maybe take out a... Nope. The scouts are pretty weak, but at least we know where they are now. So I'm going to have the commander start putting out some wind turbines up here and taking some of this territory. This guy desperately needs to start getting a bunch of wind out. So ARM has really strong wind. You can see on the top right here, wind is pretty high right now, so we need to get as many of those out as possible. We got our infantry out. We're going to have them just jump right into the enemy base, do as much damage as possible, set this on repeat build and start pumping out more infantry. This guy here, I want to keep him on metal. So let's take some more metal back here, and then let's send one of these builders up to help the commander with this geo spot. And we'll get a nano and a geothermal up ASAP. And then now that we're overflowing energy, we want to get some energy converters out. And this guy can go reclaim all this metal over here. Ooh, and we're getting these bots out pretty quick. So we'll follow up with a second wave. I'm going to kind of sweep the whole area, see if they got any expansions out in their back area yet. And then I'll have them all converge onto the enemy base after. Alright, commander can start taking some of this metal. put up some light laser towers in the area. Maybe put up some air defense in the area. Alright. Let's get some bots out to kind of protect this right here. So yeah, like I said, you really don't want to overcommit on the static defenses. That's a mistake I used to make quite a bit. Static defenses are great, but it's just you're a lot more adaptable, obviously, if you have mobile units. And then we'll have this guy put a nano over here to kind of boost this. And then let's get some advanced solar out. And we want to transition into an advanced factory here as soon as we get this geo up. That'll make sure our economy is strong enough to handle the advanced units. Actually, we'll have these guys start rallying up here. I didn't even see that first group attack. So it looks like they're expanding up. I can draw. They're expanding up this way. Oh, they're having some... Oh, okay, so you see here? Kind of caught them off guard a little bit, so we can do some damage and stop this expansion. Kill their construction bot here and just cause a little bit of trouble for them. And then you can see the firing range of their turrets here, so you want to steer clear of those. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's the commander. We're not going to be able to take him out, but we can at least bug him a little bit. See if we can take out this metal extractor. Yep, there we go. So we're doing a little bit of... We're being a little annoying. And that's exactly what we want. So let's send out another wave of bots just to see what happens. Looks like we kind of caught them off guard there. Alright. And I want... I'm not going to be able to boost... yeah, we can boost this out. Let's see what happens. So you can see we're definitely throttling our economy pretty badly right now, but we're so close to finishing this. I just want to get it done. Alright, we'll have this guy start claiming some resources over here. Alright, there we go. Alright, let's get some more static defenses up. And you can always use Dragon's Teeth. Oh, here we go. That guy's going to die to my commander. Let's get some more of these guys out here now that we have all this excess energy. And now we really want to get this... I'm going to pump another bot out here so we can get started on this. Oh yeah, you see what I just did here is I just interrupted this. I didn't stop this queue here, but I was able to throw a single bot, construction bot, in the middle of the queue just by holding Alt. So that's a really nice way to just get a couple extra constructors out without messing up your whole build queue. That used to drive my OCD insane. And we're going to start being a little less risky with our commander now. Oh dang, they took out all my units over here. Alright, so they're starting to get a pretty strong army, so we want to start varying up our unit composition. These grunts are just not doing it. So let's get some... Oh shit. Now we have a leak. See, this is why you gotta have some mobile units in your back line. I have all these light laser towers up, and they found a way just right through them. So, huge mistake on my part there. And they did quite a bit of damage. I think I might have even lost a construction unit there. So yeah, we want to shut these leaks down as quick as possible. Yeah, we gotta be better about those. So yeah, I'm really just gonna have these guys kind of be on defense for now while we get our stronger units up and running. We got these guys are pretty heavy right here. These are kind of like your tankiest guys you can get at this tech level. And we'll get some Rocketeers out as well. And we'll get some reclaiming guys. So here's your, this will be your unit composition moving forward. And we're really struggling with metal because I am not paying good attention here. So let's get some more energy converters out. Alright, now we can get some advanced bots. We really need to start getting these metal extractors up to tech level 2. We really need to start prioritizing some of this advanced metal extractor here. Oof. Okay, they seem to be finding a leak through this area, so we gotta get defenses up quick. We want to be real careful they don't get a sneaky kill on our commander here. I see a big group starting to come in this way. And we'll have them get some more wind turbines out, why not? And let's go out here and claim some more of this metal. We got a lot of idle bots now. So I think I might just get some advanced laser towers out over here just because this is kind of a crucial area we don't want them to be in. Interrupt our commander real quick to get some more energy converters. We're starting to max out again. Okay, now that we have all these guys, let's start upgrading these metal extractors ASAP. And this guy, I'm going to have him actually start upgrading this geothermal, but so ARM has 2 different advanced geothermals. This one will go nuclear if it blows up. This one doesn't give you as much energy, but at least it doesn't go nuclear when it explodes. So we do have a lot of stuff around it. We're not going to want to... Alright, and then this here, let's start getting some of these hounds out. These will be really good, just decent bread and butter units for strengthening our army. And let's put a nano out here to help us get out a advanced laser tower, and let's get some dragon's teeth going around it. Now let's do some sneaky shit of our own. Let's see if we can catch them with their pants down this way. Probably not good to commit your entire army to one decision, but fuck it, we ball. Alright, let's get some more static defenses out here. Some more metal. We're really struggling with that metal. I'm gonna be honest, this is not my best game. But you learn. We actually do need to get a lot more wind out. You can see we're not taking full advantage of our energy converters up here, so I'm gonna have my commander start getting out a whole bunch more wind. One thing you'll notice if you see higher level gameplay, where you have crazy 3v3s, 5v5s, just a ton of people, you'll see players having much more condensed building in their base. And that's usually because what you'll figure out is when you start spamming wind turbines and fusion reactors and all these eco buildings, they really start to take up a ton of space. Right now, I don't really care about that. I'm trying to take up as much space as possible, but you'll see, if especially in team games, you'll have to build your stuff a lot closer together to save space. All right, this is getting pretty close to being done. Once we have that, probably unrealistic. The enemy has a nuke this early in the game, but I want to get my nuke defense out quickly, just so we don't forget about it, and it'll cover pretty much this whole area, and we'll be good from there. And this advanced guy over here, let's have him start upgrading all these metal extractors. Now that he's done with this advanced geo, that's helping us out a little bit, but we're still not utilizing all of our conversion capacity. So let's get some more turbines out. All right, my sneak attack over here didn't really work. So right now, the bots are not doing super well for me, so I think I either need to start getting some more powerful units out. I mean, I definitely need to start getting some more powerful units out. So let's get some frontline welders out here. Let's get some of these sniper bots, and we'll keep the hounds pretty high. So now that we have a pretty diverse grouping of units, you can kind of see I have my frontline units on hotkey 1, artillery on hotkey 3, and flankers on 2. So now I can start giving them different commands. So we'll have our frontline guys just push up here, artillery right behind them. I want my flankers to come up this way, see if we can do some damage through the back door. And let's start getting these Lazarus is out picking up dead guys. I don't know if there's too much out here quite yet, but... Oh yeah, another leak over here. We just lost that real quick. Yeah, poor guy didn't stand a chance on his own. Alright, let's get a fusion reactor out pretty quick. I think we're ready for that now. And I need to boost out another guy over here to start building some defenses around that fusion reactor. And really, these fusion reactors are kind of just your stepping stone into getting the advanced fusion. It's nice that this one is cloaked, so I don't have to worry super much about defending it. Our economy is starting to get a little more stable, but we need to start ramping it much faster. Get some more light laser and air defense out here just in case. I don't see any aircraft yet, but can't be too careful. Alright, we got some more frontline units we can commit here with our hounds behind them. Actually, I'm going to stop building these Rocketeers. They're not so good right now. We just need more frontline units. And actually, I've been remiss in adding more nanos here. We need a lot more nanos. So we probably want to get a nice little block of nanos here. Again, we don't want to overcommit on them just yet because our economy is not super strong. Let's get another cloaked fusion reactor out back here somewhere. And that'll really just help us transition. Once we got 2 of these out, that'll really just help us transition into advanced fusions. Oh, shit. I don't even know what that was. Alright, so let's make sure our frontline units are really pushing up with the artillery behind them. Alright, and I think at this point I want to start throwing some aircraft in the mix. As soon as the commander is wrapped up over here, let's get an aircraft plant out. Just to start doing some, vary up our tactics a little bit. Get some nanos over here to help them out. And let's just have this guy keep expanding this way. Now we got a whole bunch of, you can see we have a whole bunch of dead guys over here, so I'm going to start sending in our Lazaruses to start picking them up. Alright, our army's pretty weak, if I do say so. We need to really start, I mean, they're terrible numbers. We need to start getting a much bigger army much more quickly. So as soon as one of these fusion reactors is done, we actually want to start getting some advanced energy converters out as well. Just one I'll do for now, but that'll really help us out a little bit. And then over here, I'm just going to go straight into gunships, and we'll start boosting those out like crazy. These guys, these fat boys here are pretty great, but actually, oh, I forgot to make some advanced flankers. These sprinters are pretty good for flanking. Alright, so now that we got this fusion up, you can see we're starting to get a little more utilization out of our energy conversion here. So as soon as these 2 are up, ooh, this guy could use some help actually. Alright, I need another construction bot here for nanos. Just build a nice little block back here just to help those guys out. Ooh, that's not good. Let's replace this guy. Alright, so now we got gunships coming out, and I have gunships on hotkey 6. So we really want to start doing some coordinated strikes with our units here. So let's get another frontline assault going. I'm just going to push them over here on their left flank a little bit. Artillery will follow up right behind. Let's get our scouts. Ah, shit. See, these leaks, man. I haven't been having much success with this path, but let's try again. These gunships, let's just kind of have them sweep this whole area over here, kind of using them as flankers, and they'll just come over the top this way. Uh-oh. Nice little... Oh, that's what I've been forgetting. Forgot to get out a big old radar over here. Let's see if these... There we go. These guys are not prepared to fight air units, so we really want to abuse these while we have the... before they can get some air defenses up. I keep losing this area. Alright, so what are these guys doing? Alright, they should be able to take this area out pretty well. Oh, they got a heavy laser tower over here. That's going to give us some trouble. Keep pushing. Yeah, these hounds really do some damage. Ooh, they're going to start... Oh, they got fat boys out over here. Let's get our gunships to kill these things pretty quick. Ooh, I've not realized our economy is in the shitter. That is not good. I'm gonna be honest, I'm doing a terrible job of multitasking right now. It's really hard to talk while I'm playing. Honestly, I think we might need one more fusion reactor here to help us out. We are really struggling with economy. I have not expanded as much as I wanted to. These guys have done a really good job of keeping me in check. Get some more advanced metal extractors out here. AMEXs. AMEXs is what they call them. Alright, so those gunships are starting to clean up over here. Oh, these guys are actually doing pretty good progress. Let's see if we can get right up into the middle of their base over here. They're doing a good push right now. These flankers, we really want to protect this flank though. They're going to start hurting us. So let's just kind of have our flankers come out and check this area over here. I'm going to keep a close eye on our commander. We don't want him to get sniped at this point. Alright, so now I just have a bunch of idle construction bots and we don't want that. Let's try to grab some of this over here. That guy's probably going to die though, if I'm being totally honest. So let's get our... Ooh, okay, so they got some good eco over here. We can come in and ruin their day. Let's get our artillery to really back them up over here. Oh yeah. If we can get to the commander, this might be game over right here. Looks like they overcommitted their units. I'm not seeing the commander though. These guys are making me a little bit nervous. I'm going to pull my commander back. See if our gunships can help us out over here. Mop up these guys. And we'll just bring them in here to help the main assault. Huh. I don't see their commander. Hoping to make this a quick win. Oh yeah, these gunships are really giving them a hard time. All this artillery doesn't have any anti-air. And we're gonna get our res bots in here to kind of pick up the scraps. Alright, anyways, back over here. Alright. Horribly slow, but 20 minutes and we're really just starting to get our aphises now. Really slow pacing, by the way. Kind of get our troops to sweep this area for the commander. Where's our gunships at? Alright, let's have our gunships kind of mop this up. Alright, so it looks like we did some pretty decent damage to their economy and build power. I doubt they're going to be able to really recover from this if we can keep the pressure on. I'm going to find the commander to end this quick so they can't pull off anything sneaky. So this advanced radar luckily kind of helps them from sneaking up on us, but they could always have radar jammers. So it's good to have these flankers and gunships kind of patrol the area, get real line of sight. Alright, now our energy is really starting to come up. Let's get our commander to help these guys out. Let's get some nanos over here to help. A little late in the game, but might as well claim the territory that we can. Alright. So now I'm neglecting to add more nanos over here. So let's get a nice little brick of nanos to help us out here. Okay, if I have a free builder over here, let's get some more. We can boost out a construction aircraft over here. Let's get this guy to start building some more. Actually, we can even go into advanced aircraft now. Why not? Get a nice little block of nanos over here to help him out. And I'm totally neglecting my assault over here, so let's get our... Ooh, yeah. Let's respond to this quickly. I'm really not doing a whole lot of micro here either. I'm kind of just moving around blobs of like units. So you can definitely do a much better job of microing than I am right now. And let's kind of pick up any dead units in this area. Our radar's not really picking up too much. There's probably a group hiding behind this rock over here. Alright, so out of here, I want to put this on repeat build, get some more gunships out. I don't think we really need it, but these atomic bombers right here are amazing for sniping commanders and just kind of ending a game really quick. Oh yeah, here we go. I see some guys over here. Let's get our flankers out over there. A little concerned we haven't found their commander yet. Let's get these guys to kind of end this little group right here. They don't look too tough. We'll have them just come in this general direction. Alright, so you can see we definitely have an excess of material here, so we really want to get these nanos out much faster. Yeah, there we go. They're going to start coming out pretty quick now. Alright, might as well go for our second APHIS as soon as that one's done. I like to keep mine really well protected, but you'll see a lot of players really not protecting them like this. They'll just make giant blocks of them. I'm a little more risk averse than that. Last thing I want is a single bombing run coming in and chain killing all of my economy buildings. Still no commander. Frontline units are pushing up, artillery behind them. Our flankers are here and they haven't picked up anything. Let's get a little gunship swarm to kind of sweep this. Oh, there he is. Alright, let's just have everyone go kill him real quick. Oops, sloppy. Everyone in this area. Everyone. And I think I mentioned it earlier, but it's really good to have your artillery move them around with the fight command so that they keep their distance from enemies and attack as soon as they see something in range. Flankers, you really want the opposite. You want to move them right up in the enemy's face. Frontline units can kind of go either way. Right now, ooh, wow, that was a big one. Yeah, we got him. There's no way the commander's going to survive this. GG's. Alright, so that's honestly, even with my very, very sloppy play, I still managed to handle that one pretty well. Nice thing to do, though, is that they have all these post-game stats here to really help you understand how the game went. So this is a good way to improve. So kind of see, we did a really good job of at least keeping pace with their metal usage throughout the first little bit of the game, and we really started to take off after 17 minutes or so to outpace them. And then this is probably where we hit them pretty big, with kind of knocked out a lot of their economy buildings here. Energy, about the same story. We had a nice scale here, and that's really what you want to see. This is what I mean when I say the economy scales. It's as soon as you start getting your advanced metals and advanced geos, it kind of goes from this nice line into this big exponential whoop. Flip side, you want to have your excess metal and excess energy very low. Excess metal, really good usage of our metal here. We're pretty much using every bit that we have without overflowing. Energy, could have done a much better job here. This is a little too much excess energy. Converters will help with that. And then another thing you can just kind of see, we get a decent job of managing a sizable amount of active units, or at least around pace with the enemy. Yeah, you can see we really just, their army just tanked, and we really just kept growing. So units killed, they definitely had a little bit more. And that's just due to my poor micro, to be honest with you. I was not focusing very much at all on micro that game. That was all just moving, like I said, moving around big blobs of like type units. Overall, we were able to produce a lot more, and this was mostly just an economy victory. I really didn't have any fancy unit micro tactics or doing anything too complex. You can get a lot more deep than that. But, this is good enough to get started with. I'd say just kind of build your way up into fighting barbarian level AIs as quick as you can. It does take some time. I struggled a lot even when I was starting out, even just against simple enemies. My friends and I just jumped into 3v3, 4v4 comp stomp when we're all just learning, and we were getting our asses handed to us by simple AIs. So there's a learning curve to it. Luckily, they give you a lot of the tools that you need to really keep improving your skills. Anyways, that'll about do it for us. Again, very sloppy play on my end, but that's typically how a game will... At least you can kind of see my my thought process in action as I'm making decisions in real time. Hopefully someone found this helpful, and thanks for stopping by. And if you've made it all the way through the video at this point, you deserve an award. So, thank you.